What is up, my thrifty friends? Tabs here from the Urban Goddess shop. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we are doing a work with me. These are my favorite videos. We do them every Monday. If you're new, watch for this logo. This will always be on the thumbnail and lets you know that this is going to be a long video. We're going to talk everything and anything reseller related, and I got lots of stuff again. So many things happening right now. It's actually crazy. Like, I have to add things into my notes as soon as I hear about it because I'll forget because something new has come up. So yeah, I'm really excited to go over this. If you are new to my channel, I am a Canadian reseller. I'm a mom to 2 girls, a wife. I work part-time in a hospital pharmacy, and I love to sell used clothing. It is my jam here on YouTube, and I share everything about my business, hopefully helping you grow a side hustle reselling clothing as well. Okay, let's go into this. We got like layoffs, store closures. We're going to talk about limiting beliefs. Oh gosh, a bunch of stuff with Poshmark, some Etsy things, like it's just, yeah. And some questions, yeah, lots of stuff. Okay, let's jump into this. As always, we're going to start with my life update and then we'll go into the business. So life-wise, personal life, we've been really busy. I feel like I'm slowly getting better, guys, like slowly getting better. Still struggling with my sinuses a little, and I thought they were clearing up. I don't know. I think I'm going to go to the doctor this week and hopefully they'll give me something. And then especially because I'm leaving to go visit my mom next week. So I want to be as healthy as possible before I go there. And I'm hoping I don't have to postpone my trip because I am sick. But like my cough is getting better. Still on the inhalers, and just the sinus issue I'm dealing with. I don't know. I'm like, maybe it's even like allergies or something. I'm not sure. It's just weird because I've had this cold, like the sinus part of it, for 3 weeks now, and it's just kind of like good and bad and good and bad, not getting better. But anyways, that's my personal life. Nothing too exciting. We were working on the ambulance this weekend, and we have decided on our channel name, and I'm going to start the channel. Like, one of the biggest holdups we've had recently is deciding on what to call our new channel, where we do like our ambulance conversion and kind of like fun adventures in our ambulance. But yeah, the name is like literally what's holding me up. I have a couple videos that I can start editing. We figured out the name on Friday. I'm going to have the channel built out really soon, and I'll share it with you guys as soon as possible. So stay tuned. I'll post it up once it's ready. What else? Ooh, tomorrow, actually, well, I'm recording on Sunday, so Monday, today, is Emika's birthday, so that's very exciting. I'm so excited for her, so we'll probably have like a nice supper tonight, but yeah, that's it. Life's busy, as always. Business side, oh my gosh, things are going so good. I mean this in the most like humble way. Like, I'm not meaning this in like a bragging way, but like, it's kind of like all the changes I've been making and the changes I share with you guys are just starting to, like, it's like a snowball and it's just starting to roll, and sales have been really strong. My average sale price is hovering around that 50. Sometimes it's a little bit higher, sometimes a little bit lower, but the ultimate goal was 50. I'm sourcing really good quality pieces right now. I am paying up for them a lot of times. I will pay $40 for an item that will sell for $120. I am like learning where to invest the money and where it's worth it, doing research into items. Anything I'm paying up for, I am comp checking. How old is this item? What was the manufacturer's suggested retail price? What do I see sold at? I do some comp searching on eBay now as well. So yeah, it's just transitions happening in the business right now, but everything's going really well. So I'll have a what sold video coming out this Friday, and it's going to be good. Lots of stuff, lots of different things, lots of brands. I'm picking up like newer brands, things that I wasn't picking up before. So I'm excited to kind of start sharing those sales. And then I should also state, like, I'm still using POSH SIDEKICK for all my sharing, and Magiscriptor, I've been using it for like majority of my descriptions now, and that I think could be also contributing to my sales because it really works on like SEO. And most of my listings that I'm using it on are going to be SEO optimized. So I firmly believe that that has a positive impact on my sales as well. Okay, let's jump into today's topics. First one that I wanted to talk about last week, but I didn't have my notes all typed up on it, is the RealReal announced layoffs and store closures a couple weeks ago. They are looking at 7% layoff, which is about 230 employees. Like, that's pretty substantial. Keep in mind that they have like multiple stores, like there's many different, networks to this business. I didn't see how many stores they were closing in the article, which I will put down below. But they did state that 2 of their flagship stores, one in San Francisco and one in Chicago, were included in the closures. And this is all in an effort to cut costs in a low economic time, which we're seeing this. A lot of big retailers are looking at ways to reduce their costs. I don't think this necessarily means it's going to be like a forever thing, but I do think this may last, a couple of years. And the reason why I thought this was so important to talk about is that there are a lot of resellers where the RealReal is a big part of their business. They're sending in their designer stuff. I know there are YouTubers that have, good chunks of their business is sending inventory to the RealReal. I don't think I can in Canada. Like, I think I've reached out to the RealReal, and I think they will do partnerships with like certain people. Maybe you have to have a rep. I don't remember exactly how it all worked, but as a Canadian, I couldn't set up an account to send them stuff because I did try and do that like a year ago, and maybe it's changed now. I'm not sure, but I'm probably not going to be sending in inventory with these kind of things happening. So that's just me. Doesn't mean like lots of places are laying people off and doing that kind of stuff. It's not uncommon right now. All right, next up, I thought this is like kind of general reseller. So next I want to talk about limiting belief systems. And I know we all do it. It's the conversations we tell ourselves, right? So the best example that I could think of that's probably the most common that we hear about is like, I grew up poor, therefore I'm going to be poor, right? It's just, you keep telling yourself that, right? And I wanted to dive deeper into this. So what is a limiting belief? A limiting belief is a thought or state of mind that you think is the absolute truth and stops you from doing certain things. These beliefs don't always have to be about yourself either. They could be about how the world works, ideas, or how you interact with people. So I want you to drop down below, what are some common limiting beliefs that maybe you had when you first started reselling? And if you're a new reseller, what do you think are some of your limiting beliefs that you have right now? But please drop them down below, because I think it's good for us to talk about these things and to hear other people's point of views. So you're probably wondering, like, why are we talking about this tab? What brought this topic on? I fell into a comment on Facebook, and I always say nothing good happens on Facebook. There are some good things that happen, but I don't think Facebook is always like the best place to ask for advice on your business. And personally, I probably am just going to start refraining from answering any questions on there, and just I every time I have an answer, I get a bunch of like, but this, and to me, they're like, I'm gonna call it how it is. They're kind of like excuses of why my answer isn't right, and I need to not put energy into this stuff. But the person that did ask the original question, her and I chatted outside of the group. We had a really good discussion. I think I helped her kind of put some ideas, and I know you watched, so I'm really excited to hear how those ideas work out for you. Please keep me in the loop. And I see this question so many times. So I'm not addressing it because of this certain discussion. Well, I mean, it triggered it, but I have seen the same question so many times in multiple Facebook groups, and you're going to recognize this question. How many items do you have to have in your closet to make daily sales? I did reply to the question, and I said, it's not about the number of listings you have, but your sell-through rate. Obviously, listing things that are in high demand, you can have a smaller closet. So just for like food for thought, I have 351 active listings. I probably have 350 because I think I sold something since this afternoon. last month gross sold just under 6,000. So I think it was like 5.8 thousand. And I don't have a big closet. I don't have 1,000 active listings. I don't have 2,000 active listings. I literally have 350 active listings right now. So I try and like share this because I want people to not look at it like I have to have 2,000 listings for me to start making these sales. I want them to start shifting the way they think. And instead of just finding fillers in your closet, jabs in the dark, hoping they sell, start sourcing with intention, right? Start finding, do research. And it's not necessarily grabbing the brands that I have or that I'm selling, but that you have locally available. And I always say this, if Talbots is all you have, research and find out what's the top selling Talbots. If you live in a small area and you get a lot of granny donations, what are the top selling vintage things? Like, I do think you can source anywhere, and you just have to work with what you have. And this is a very broad brush statement. And obviously I have not shopped in every thrift store in every town, but I do believe there is always a way to figure it out. So at the end of this, I am no longer arguing with people in comments and that make statements in reply to my messages. I'm going to leave them to their beliefs, because what I have learned is that I cannot change or convince people to think otherwise, but I am going to share my knowledge and information here on YouTube with you guys, because that's why you're here watching these videos. You want to grow your business. You want to, keep growing your business. You're looking for ways to improve. You're looking for ideas, and that's what these videos are all about. So if you are in this video to grow your reselling business, I got you covered. And this next statement is going to be for you. I want you to think about this. Where there is a will, there's a way. And repeat that to yourself. Where there's a will, there's a way. But in order to find the way, you must have the will, right? Like, you have to have that tenacity, that desire to succeed in your business. And I think in being a reseller, especially right now, you need to have like a level of tenacity. You need to have a level of grit. You have to have desire to succeed. You have to be willing to pivot. Like, it's not an easy thing to get into and just start making money. It takes a lot of work, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. I believe anyone can do this and anyone can make a reselling business. You just got to put the work in. Here are some answers to limiting beliefs. I hear a lot of times that people, their first response is, well, you make sales because you have a YouTube channel. And I want to tell you, I talk to a lot of people broadly, and I personally know people that make double what I make that do not have YouTube or a social following. And what I've found actually is some of the most successful people, and this isn't everyone, but some of the most successful people that I've had conversations with don't have time for socials and social media. They're too busy running their business. So it doesn't, yes, it's a good thing. And I would, like I've said this before, I'm not ignorant knowing that my YouTube or my Instagram has an influence on what I sell, or that sales come in from people that know me through YouTube. But there are people that don't do their business the way I do that make a lot of money and more money than I do. So it is possible. I also know people, like I hear the comment, like there's nothing good in my close to me. And, the next major city is an hour, 2 hours away. And I personally know people that live 4 hours away from any major city that do very well selling, right? And they'll maybe do like a sourcing trip where they'll go down for 2 days and they'll just source for 2 days straight. And then they have all the inventory that they need for the month. So there are different ways to approach this business, and the traditional way of like going to a thrift store and spending 2 or 3 hours there and finding what you need, or going to buy, sell, trade stores, consignments, things like that, may not work for everyone, but there's so many different ways that you can do this. You can shop online, you can do retail arbitrage, you can buy liquidation. Like, there's literally so many ways for you to do this. And another one, I have to address one more. Another one is that people say, I live in X city and there's nothing good here. And I know people that live in X city that find amazing stuff. So it's all about figuring out where people are selling and donating their clothing and trying to figure out where the best stuff is. And that's up to everyone individually. I cannot give out all the information here there are secrets to my business that I don't talk about in YouTube, and I hope you guys can respect that. But there's also people, you know, that are doing well that don't give out all the information because it takes time to learn how to resell. And I think with a little bit of research, anyone can kind of figure out the secrets. Like, there's no real secrets. It's just being able to put in the work. So here's just like a broad advice to anyone. You may have to travel outside of your city. If you live in a big city, I would try and visit like every single thrift store, consignment store, and buy sell trade store in your city and try and see where you're finding the best stuff, right? And you may have to do this multiple times. Like, this may take you 6 months to figure out, but I do think it's possible. Yeah, I think there's a lot of limiting beliefs that people place on themselves. And next, let's go over how to break these limiting beliefs, okay? So the way to break a limiting belief is to acknowledge it first. Do you know what things you tell yourself that maybe hold you and your business back? And you need to change the story you tell yourself. So instead of, my stores have no good stuff, you need to tell yourself, I know there's good stuff, I just have to find it, right? Like, it's that possibility. And then you start doing research and you start finding out where all these stores are close. Okay, maybe I'm going to do a route over here. Like, I'm using this one as an example because I feel like this is one of the most common ones that I hear. But yeah, I think you can do that. So another one that I hear, like I said, is she sells a lot because she sells on YouTube. How about, I know I can sell more. How do I reach more people, right? And maybe you utilize or you start working on a social media to help you sell. If you think that that would help you sell, you could start working on that, right? Like how to grow a social media account, things like that. People that want to succeed will find a way, I promise. So this is more of like a pep talk for those that want more, that want to grow their business, that maybe have been telling themselves these things. Do the research, find the way. Don't ever stop pivoting until you find your happy place selling, until you find your groove where you know what you're doing, how everything works, and it's just that wash, rinse, repeat. It takes time to get there. I'm in year 3, so you can't compare your, day 100 to my day 1000, right? And that's exaggerating, but you get what I'm saying, right? I've failed. I've tried different business models. I've done so many things to get to where I am, and I've worked really hard on building up capital to get to where I am so that I can invest in inventory. But I think you have to be willing to try new things always. What's that? There's a quote like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result, right? So you're always doing the same thing, but you're expecting something different. If you're doing something and it's not working, you need to try something else. You need to pivot. Power is knowledge, and the best thing you can do is to seek out that knowledge. And Google is your best friend. I Google everything. Like, I literally Google everything. So if you have a question, you're like, I wonder how this is done, or I wonder this, Google it. I bet you there's answers on Google for you. Sorry for the TED Talk if you were not here for it. Hopefully you skipped it and you skipped like 30 seconds until you got over this. But yeah, I think there are a few people that need to hear this type of pep talk, and I want it to be like open discussion. If you have limiting beliefs, drop them down below, and I want to help you get through this. Let's help you get past this blockage and open yourself up to opportunity. Okay, pep talk, TED Talk, done. We're going to keep moving on. Next one, Etsy. Etsy warns sellers, this was a big thing that happened over the weekend, that there may be a delay in payments due to Silicon Valley Bank collapse, so SVB. The online do-it-yourself goods mega shop said it used SVB, which is that bank, to facilitate disbursement to some sellers, and that it is working with other payment partners to issue deposits. No set time frame at this point. According to the article, which I'll have down below, this is having an effect on many sellers relying on the funds for operations in their business. Yeah, that's crazy. That bank is having a huge effect on I say North America. I don't know if many like Canadian based would be using that bank, but I think definitely US based companies may be using that bank. But what I want to know is, anyone here listening, an Etsy seller, has this delay affected you? If you have any insight into it, or you want to share maybe how this has affected your business, please drop it down in the comments. I would love to hear. Obviously, they had like 2 or 3 examples in the article, but yeah, I'm just wondering if any of you guys have been affected by this with your reselling business. Also, Poshmark, they must have received like so many emails after Etsy put that out, but Poshmark also released a statement stating that they do not use SVB to store customer or marketplace funds, and that there would be no issue. On this point, especially with Poshmark, I want to restate this. I've said it before in previous videos, but I'm going to say it again. No platform is a savings account. So I know some platforms only pay out like every 30 days or what. I think Etsy is one of them. eBay would be another one where you can set your payments to go out, but I think it's on like scheduled times. With Poshmark, we have the choice to cash out anytime. And I always say, cash the money out. Do not leave it in Poshmark. I cash out my funds every 2 to 3 days. I use the free bank direct deposit option. I think it's like 1 to 3 business days, and it's a free transaction. I would never pay for instant access. I'm also not relying on the money to be deposited right away to pay bills and things like that. So I know that I'm in a unique situation, but what I would do if I was relying on this money that I needed it, I would definitely be doing it every 2 to 3 days so that the money is kind of just continuously depositing into your bank account. Again, I guess this would be tougher if you weren't making daily sales. I do make daily sales, so I'm in a unique position where money is always being deposited into my Poshmark account. I don't know. End of the day, my best advice to you is just cash out the money. Don't let it sit in there. I would rather see the money stacking up in my bank account than in my Posh account, right? I would rather have the money on my side in my wallet than sitting in Poshmark. But I know every time I state this, I'll have people drop down below and they're like, oh my gosh, I need to start doing this. I let it build up. And when I first started, I used to love watching it build up, and I would let it build up for like a week or 2, and then it would be a large sum, and I'd be like, oh, this is so cool. And then I would deposit it. Now I'm over that. It's just like money comes in. It's like every couple hundred, I'm just depositing it out. And typically I can do it every 3 days, and I have like minimum $200 I'm transferring out every time. That's the pep talk. Don't leave your money in Poshmark. Another interesting thing that I saw on social media was Posh's hidden fees, and it was just the way they broke it down. So I thought I would share this because I have never factored it like this. And basically they were saying, you know, take into consideration Poshmark's commission plus the discount shipping that we're kind of coerced into giving to make sales, right? So someone likes an item, you send them an offer, plus you give them a shipping discount, right? That money comes out of your potential profit. So the savings goes to the customer, but the money comes from your potential profit. And I think because Poshmark doesn't actually take that money and put it into their pocket, well, that's debatable. I guess it depends on the weight of the item, and yeah, that's debatable. But typically, yeah, that savings is being passed on to the buyer. So I've seen lots of people talking about this. Like I said, never really looked into it or broke it down, but I thought today would be a good day to do like a comparison. So I picked a couple different sales points and then calculated the commission plus the shipping rate, and then broke that down into a loss percentage. So not necessarily just like a commission, but like a loss, because you're losing that off of your total value of your sale, right? Okay, so we all know Poshmark's fee structure is 20% in Canada over $20 and in the States over $15. If you sell anything under that, it is going to be a flat rate commission. And I'm not even going to break that down. We're just going to do over $20. Have you factored in the discount shipping into your losses? First example, someone buys something for $25 with the first shipping discount in Canada, which is $3.50. So you are $25, right, which is your total sale value, minus Posh's commission, which is going to be the $5 because it's $5, 20% off of the 25, and then your shipping discount, which is going to be $3.50. So the total amount that you're going to be left with is $16.50. So off a $25 sale, your earnings would be $16.50. Did you know that you gave up 34% of that sale to Poshmark commissions and your shipping discount? Isn't that crazy? Like, it's not just the 20% commission on Posh. Like, when you factor in those shipping discounts that we're like handing out all the time, I mean, they help make sales, but they also come out of your profit. That's really high. So obviously the lower the item, like the lower the sale amount, the higher that percentage is going to be. Now, let's do something with a little bit higher of an ASP, and they do have a better conversion. So let's say you sell an item for $50, you give the first shipping discount of $3.50. Posh's commission is going to be the $10, and that leaves you with $36.50. That's your earnings after the commission comes out and the shipping discount, which drops the loss to 27%. So those two, like the shipping discount and the commission together out of your $50 sale, is a 27% loss. So that's a pretty big difference from selling a $25 item to a $50 item, right? And then I was thinking, well, let's see what the difference is on a $100 item. Now, if you sell a $100 item, Posh takes their commission, right, plus the $3.50 to give them a shipping discount if you're sending like an offer to like, it actually turns out to a 23.5% loss. So you actually have a lower loss percentage on higher ticket items. So selling like designer, those really high dollar items, you're seeing a much less loss percentage, if that makes sense. And then I also wanted to do an example. Sorry, I did do one item that was less than $25. So these are based on Canadian flat commission rate. I know in the States, I think it's $2.95 off of a $15 or less. But for today, we're just going to do the Canadian example. You send an offer to someone for $15 with a shipping discount. It's going to be $15 minus the $3.95, which is their flat rate commission, minus the $3.50, which is the shipping discount. Your earnings are going to be left at $7.50. That is a 49.6. So round that up. That is a 50% loss on the sale of the item. That is crazy. Like, I've never looked at it this way. And the reason why I was looking at it this way was Sarah Stiles had put out a video, I think last week. It was how to price on eBay, and it was on her podcast side, but I think she also puts the videos out on her YouTube channel. And she was talking about like promoted listings, things like that for eBay. And she was like, really, like when you factor in your shipping discount that you're giving on Poshmark, you can promote on eBay and it's still going to be relatively close to what you're paying on Poshmark fees. So she was just saying, like, people that don't promote, you should promote more because it kind of all evens out in the end. So that's what really brought me into doing all this deep dive. If you want to listen to her podcast or her video, I'll drop both down below. Really good video if you're looking into selling on eBay, or if you are an eBay seller and you just want some good information. I really enjoyed the podcast episode. All right, next topic: Posh live shows and failed payments. I just can't believe that this is a topic that I have to talk about and that these types of issues aren't being resolved. Like, again, we're 5 months into live shows. Why can't we figure this stuff out? So it seems to be a pretty big problem on Posh. Basically, people are bidding or making purchases in live shows and their payment methods are failing. Unfortunately, the way the system is set up, you do not know this until after your show because Posh withholds all charges until after the show, and then they kind of put through all the charges onto the credit card. I think this is an easy fix. Whatnot has like pending. So I think what they do is they charge the items. if the payment fails, you're notified right away. The item pops back up into your tray, and you can let the buyer know. You can just, most people are like, hey, so-and-so, I think you got to fix your payment. Item didn't go through. If it's not fixed by the end of the show, I'm just going to rerun the item. And I think that would give sellers the chance to rerun an item, because nothing's more frustrating than when you finish a show and items don't get paid for, and there was a bunch of people in the show that were bidding and you could have sold it to someone else. So I think it's a super easy fix. Hopefully they fix that. I don't know. We'll see. I have also heard, like, this is something else. I've also heard that people have been deleting payments and trolling other people's lives and bidding up items. Yeah, it's crazy what's been going on in the reseller world lately. If this is you, shame on you. Unfollow me. We're not the same people. This is incredibly cruel to the person that's doing the live show, and I just can't imagine it's happening. And I know this is happening on both Canadian and US side. It is not just the US side. So if you have a problem with someone, just block them. Don't sabotage them. Like, don't be mean. Just block someone. I do it all the time. If you don't like someone, block their content. You don't have to see it then. Yeah. I think just as a community, we just have to work on like being better and doing better and focusing on our own businesses and our own success. And if you spent less time worrying about what everyone else was doing and focused on yours, you'd probably be able to grow your business quicker as well. So there's another little pep talk. But yeah, the failed payments is an issue in the live show. So hopefully they sort that out soon, because I think it's just becoming more and more common, especially as live selling is starting to grow a bit more on the Poshmark app. Okay, next up, we have Franca asked, thank you so much. How can we tell if something we relisted via automation has been flagged by the new Poshmark update? And I love this, because we're going to talk some more about this Poshmark update too. And she stated, I tried to do a test on this in my closet, but the results have me confused. I relisted some things. Then after the relists were completed, I sorted my closet by just in, and the items I had just relisted were not at the top. So I assume they were flagged. It's not even that Poshmark is necessarily like flagging the listings. They're just not recognizing them as new listings. So yeah, I would say they didn't recognize them. Oh, here comes Cal. Let's see what she wants. Doing a video. She's like, I don't want to leave. Here, I'm going to show you guys her. Are you going to lay there? You can lay there if you want. I actually put that blanket against the door so that the sound doesn't travel. Like if my family's downstairs talking or laundry is running, whatever's going on. I was hoping she was going to make a bed. Yeah, I think she's going to make a bed. I'm going to leave her in here if she's, oh, look at her. She's like, oh my gosh. Okay, Callie's in here. She's nestled down. Oh, yep, she's still walking around. No, she's not going to get comfortable. Okay, out you go. Let's try this again. Okay, Callie is out of here. Yeah, so I don't think they're necessarily like flagging closets. They're just not recognizing them. She also shared them to a party and they showed up in the first look tab as just in items. So the results are contradictory and I'm left feeling confused. Is there another way to figure this out that I'm missing? Yeah, so I know by now, and I'm sure you've all heard that Poshmark is now rolling out the crackdown, the McCracken, on relists under 60 days in both Canada and the US. They have been rolling them out to us for like the last couple of weeks. And they did try and do a couple of updates attempting to eliminate relisting by third parties. I thought originally that this was only going to be affected by people that were using third parties to list, like automation tools, but it looks like people that have been like deleting the listings and relisting them exactly the same have had the similar issues. So it looks like Poshmark is looking at the first words, and if you're listing something that's similar to something you've already listed, I think, or listed recently, that it won't show up as new. I can't believe, like, I sound silly trying to explain this. I can't imagine being in Poshmark's headquarters meetings where they're discussing these things, because it just sounds silly that we're having to discuss this. But yeah, it seems like changing words was something that people were finding works for them. What I don't understand, and this is like my big issue with this, why are they shooting their sellers in the foot? Like, why are they trying to debilitate us all the time? I just feel like, why not start with deleting old listings? Like, how about if you have stagnant listings that have been for over a year, that they delete them? How about forcing people to relist their items at least once a year? How about just taking off all the stagnant, stale listings that don't matter, that the person isn't even a seller, the person deleted the app, they're not using it? Like, I think that if you haven't logged into the app in a month and you have listings and your closet isn't just on vacation mode, that they should just deactivate your listings. Do you know what I mean? Like, on Depop, if you are not active on it for a certain amount of time, they mark your closet or your shop or whatever as not active, right? And then you have to sign in and reactivate your closet. But until then, I think people like can't purchase from you. I just think that there was like so many different ways they could approach this, but instead they're like, no, you guys are relisting. That's what we're cracking down on. And we don't care if there's a ton of other garbage listings on the app. I just can't make it all make sense to me. So I sell many items each month that are relisted as well, and that sell because they were relisted. So this is, I think, what upsets me about it, is that it's like, I feel like they're really just trying to shoot me, like cut off an arm, like, sorry, that's not going to work anymore, even though those relisted items are selling. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, I think everyone's trying to figure out ways around it. I use Sidekick and it's still working and they still show up as new. So that's all I got to say about that. I also wish that they would change it to 30 days. Honestly, if they would just change it to 30 days, like an item that is 30 days old can be relisted, I feel like that's a very reasonable time frame. eBay does the same thing, seems very reasonable. I'm happy with that, especially since they have all these other triggers in their algorithm to boost your listings, like sharing your items, things like that. Why not let us relist after 30 days? Another thing that I saw, which was absolutely shocking, I mean, I'm shocked to see this, was Poshmark sent out a notification: if you buy or sell luxury items, you're going to want to hear this. In quotes, this is what the message said: we are currently beta testing the expansion of our Posh Authenticate program. We are happy to inform you that your track record of successfully authenticated sales has made you eligible to become a verified reseller. This means that when you sell a Posh Authenticate item, I feel like I'm not saying this right, you will ship your order directly to the buyer instead of PMHQ, which is Poshmark headquarters, which will result in a faster order completion time, and they see this as a win-win for buyers and sellers. This change is effective immediately and no additional action is required on your part. Please do note that this is a test and could change at any time. Should we make additional changes to the program, we will be sure to let you know. Wow. So I'm curious, do you think this had anything to do with the layoffs? Do you think they laid off the people that were authenticating items? Like, wow. I find this crazy, but also curious to the parameters of it. Like, how many items did someone have to sell that were successfully authenticated? Also, I've heard people say that Poshmark is not the best authenticator either, that they have claimed items were authentic that were not. They've also claimed that items that weren't authentic, that had been authenticated by not, like, I don't know. I've just heard so much stuff. I don't sell luxury items. I've never sold an item that would need to be authenticated that has like that dollar value, but I see this probably ending up in potential problems. I do think it'll be good for those like great resellers, but maybe it's going to be a problem for those resellers. Like, what I was thinking about is if you sell luxury items, it goes to Poshmark, Poshmark authenticates it, and it gets to the buyer and the buyer switches the item. Would you not be able to say, no, that item was authenticated by Poshmark, Poshmark saw the items? Like, I don't know how it's going to work. I just don't know if this is the shift on items that are worth over $500 or $700. I don't remember what the baseline is for it being sent to Poshmark headquarters. Regardless, if you are a Posh luxury seller or buyer, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I would love to hear pros and cons. I think because I'm not in the luxury market, I don't even know the obstacles that luxury sellers have or problems that could be implicated here. Like, I think I just can't wrap my head around it all. So if you have any information on this, please share in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys think on this new policy. Also, were you invited into it? And yeah, what are your thoughts around that as well? All right, guys, I think that's it. I feel like I've been talking a lot again, as usual, but that's all I had in my notes for this week. All right, I wanted to end this on a fun note, something that I felt like really touched me when I heard it this week. So I'm going to give you an inspirational quote and how it has a positive impact on my business. And I would love to hear an inspirational quote that you have heard at some point, or you could search one up right now that has a positive meaning to you and your business. So for mine, it's better to think for a week and work for an hour than to work for a week and think for an hour, right? Let that sit in. It's better to think for a week and work for an hour than to work for a week and think for an hour. Basically, I feel like when I heard this quote, I was like, wow, that hit home, because it's really how I approach my business. I try and think of all the processes that I'm doing. I try and put like the thought process into them so that I can work less. And that's how I applied this quote to my business. But yeah, it really hit me, and I was like, yes, that like encapsulates how I look at my business. I'd love to hear from you guys. What's an inspirational quote you've heard or read recently, or search one up? What's one that touches you? And let's inspire each other. All right, I'm going to head out of here. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate all of you guys. If this brings value to your reselling business, make sure to give me a thumbs up and tap subscribe on the way out. I hope you guys all have a fabulous week. I am wishing you guys all many sales, and I will see you next time. Bye.